Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while since my last Lord of the Rings movie, but I am coming on today because I have a new movie that I want to talk about. If you didn't know, recently Godzilla vs. Kong just came out a few days ago. Today is, what is today? Saturday, April 3rd, and Godzilla vs. Kong just came out just a few days ago, about 4 days ago on Wednesday, on the 31st. And so I'm coming on here to talk about Godzilla vs. Kong and just kind of give my inputs and talk about the movie. So if you have not watched it yet and you don't like spoilers, then do not continue this video. But if you don't care and you just want to hear my thoughts, then keep on watching. But if you want to wait until you watch the movie to come back and give me your thoughts below in the comments, then awesome. So again, I'm going to give spoilers. I'm going to talk about the movie and kind of give my thoughts and what I like and didn't like. So fortunately, I was able to watch Godzilla vs. Kong. I am subscribed to HBO Max because if you didn't know, I used to watch movies all the time in the theaters prior to COVID, but obviously because of COVID I can't. So I recently subscribed to HBO Max just so that I can watch all these new movies that are being released on there. So shout out to HBO Max for releasing those movies on there so that people like me can continue to watch movies. So the premise of the movie, I'm gonna quickly give a rundown. It's probably not gonna be the most in-depth, synopsis ever, but what the movie's about is Godzilla vs. Kong. I'm just kidding. I mean, it is, hence the title name for the movie, but okay. So we start off with Kong. He wakes up and he eventually figures out that he's kept in this dome by this scientist because the scientist wants to keep Kong safe, and Kong but he will only communicate with this child named Gia, who was one of the people back on the island that Kong's from, but then her people got killed. So the scientist kind of adopted her, and that is the only person that Kong would talk to. Then we move on to this company called Apex, and there's this engineer, I forget his name, but there's this engineer who is a whistleblower, and he's trying to figure out what is Apex really doing and trying to figure out what their secrets are. While he's trying to do that, in this scene, Godzilla comes and attacks the company and destroys it. Then we go and move on to Millie Bobby Brown. She does come back in this movie, and we see her again where she is listening to this guy's, the engineer's podcast, because he does podcasts being a whistleblower. And she listens to his podcast, and they later soon figure out that, the only time that Godzilla has ever attacked is if he's being challenged or threatened. So they're trying to figure out, why the heck would Godzilla randomly attack this factory? Then we move on to this other scientist. I forget his name. I'm horrible with names. The owner of Apex, he meets up with this scientist and kind of convinces him that they need to go to the Hollow Earth so that they can get the Hollow Earth's energy, because this energy is super sustainable and will help human life. Typical plot line of we need to get and harness this energy so that we can save and sustain human life. Typical, I know. So this guy, he agrees, and then he comes up with the plan that he needs to talk to the woman scientist to get Kong to show them the way, because Hollow Earth can only be entered by Titans, because they think that that's where they're from. And the owner and CEO of Apex is the person that will be able to fund and supply them with their vehicles so that they can go to the Hollow Earth to harness this energy. The male scientist meets up with the female scientist and convinces her that, hey, we need Kong to show us the way to Hollow Earth so that we can harness this energy to help humankind. So they agree. She allows them to use Kong under her rules, and then we see them ship Kong to Antarctica, but along the way, Godzilla comes and fights King Kong for the first time ever. Now, I am Team Kong prior to the movie, and I still am, but King Kong kind of got his butt whooped in this part. I mean, they're on uncharted waters, literally. Godzilla has the advantage of being a swimmer versus Kong, who doesn't. I mean, he swims, but he's not like, how would you say, an aquatic animal. Whereas Godzilla, he uses water to move around the whole world. King Kong gets his butt whooped, and eventually Godzilla leaves, and then they figure out that they need to transport Kong the rest of the way via helicopters and stuff like that. So now they fly him up and they reach Antarctica, because that's the opening to the Hollow Earth, where it's like a, how would you say it? Like a path, like a canal that leads to the Hollow Earth. So they convince Kong to go in, and all these people are on these high-tech vehicles, and they follow him and they go into Hollow Earth. Now, take a step back. Millie Bobby Brown and this engineer and their friend break into Apex, and they're trying to figure out what is on sub-level 33. Now they go down to sub-level 33 and figure out that Apex is sending skull crushers, I believe that's their name, from Skull Island. But they are transporting these other animals. If you haven't seen Skull Island, then you know what I mean. They're transporting these animals, or titans, to Hong Kong. Now they get stuck in one of the vehicles that's transporting these titans, so that they can figure out what Apex is doing in secret. So as they go to Hong Kong, they figure out that the CEO of Apex has one of the skulls of Ghidorah, and they are harnessing some telepathic wavelengths so that they can control, and which they did make, Mechagodzilla. So boom, we see that Mechagodzilla is introduced, and it was actually made by Apex, which is the company that Godzilla had attacked earlier in the movie. So now we move on to Kong again. They finally get to Hollow Earth, and Kong magically knows the way to, how would you say it, life force. And he figures out that there were other big gorillas like him, but they unfortunately have passed on, and Kong obviously is the last one. And he comes to find his axe, which is what we see in the theater, and the axe is what is able to harness the Hollow Earth's energy. While the axe is harnessing the Hollow Earth's energy, Godzilla shows up in Hong Kong because he sensed the Mechagodzilla's presence so that he can fight him. But then while doing that, while he's in Hong Kong, he shoots his fire breath, whatever you want to call it, down to the earth, and he makes his own portal to the Hollow Earth. And then that's when we see King Kong and Godzilla fight in Hong Kong. And again, King Kong gets his butt whooped. I'm still Team King Kong, but King Kong he did get his butt whooped by Godzilla. But while they're fighting, we see that whenever Godzilla uses his fire breath, it can charge up King Kong's axe and make it stronger. As they're fighting and Kong loses, we see Mechagodzilla again. And I forgot to mention that while they were in the Hollow Earth, the CEO of Apex sent his daughter down there with the team. She actually got a sample of the energy from Hollow Earth and was able to send it back to her father. They're trying to use that energy to power up Mechagodzilla. While Godzilla and King Kong are fighting, they're trying to power up Mechagodzilla with this energy from Hollow Earth, also using telepathic waves from Ghidorah's skull left over. But while trying to power Mechagodzilla up, they lose control for some reason, and he kind of just is free now and is a mindless robot. Basically an android of a big Godzilla. And so Mechagodzilla just kind of goes berserk, and after Godzilla beating Kong, Mechagodzilla and Godzilla start fighting. And now Godzilla's getting his butt whooped by Mechagodzilla. Now, after that happens, Kong is kind of slowly dying, and then the male scientist comes up with an idea to use the vehicles that they use to go to Hollow Earth, since this vehicle has enough power to charge Vegas for a week. So he uses that vehicle to explode on top of King Kong to kind of resuscitate him. So they use that, jumpstart King Kong's heart, and the little girl's telling Kong, like, hey, in sign language as well, hey, Godzilla isn't your enemy, Mechagodzilla is, you know, kind of, you need to help him in a way. As we see Godzilla getting his butt whooped by Mechagodzilla, Kong grabs his axe and starts fighting Mechagodzilla, and they both whoop and destroy Mechagodzilla. And at the end, we see that Kong and Godzilla, they don't necessarily become friends, but they become, how would you say it, cordial, that they understand that they both are powerful. So they stop fighting, and then Godzilla goes on his way. And then we see Kong back in Hollow Earth with the scientists and the little girl and people, because, you know, they're down there with him because it's his new home now. So now that I just got done explaining about the plot and the storyline of the movie, I'm going to give my 2 cents and input about it and what I like and didn't like, and just my overall rating. So 1, I thought the storyline was okay. I kind of felt that it was all over the place. Like, we get the story of Kong, and then all of a sudden there's Godzilla, who's threatened and wants to fight and take up the challenge of anybody who he's being threatened by. And then here's Apex, and they're trying to harness this energy from the Hollow Earth and build Mechagodzilla. So I felt like the storyline was very predictable, and while it was predictable, I felt like it was just all over the place. Like, there was no connectivity, no continuity with anything. Like, there was just, here's one storyline, then all of a sudden let's just plug in Kong, and let's just plug in Godzilla, let's just plug in Mechagodzilla. So I kind of felt like the storyline was all over the place. I get that they were trying to harness energy, and, you know, I get that, but again, like I said, they just kind of threw Kong, Godzilla, and Mechagodzilla into the mix and just kind of spew out a story. I get that we're trying to get to the fight scenes. Like, that's obviously the main thing of the movie. It's Godzilla versus Kong. But I still would like a more, how would you say it, fresh story. And I just kind of wish that there was more to the story and a little more meat to the story to build up to the fight. Because, again, I just kind of felt like, okay, here's the story, and we'll just plug in these titans. So that's how I felt about the storyline. It just went from, like, one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, like, bam, bam, bam. So that's how I felt about it. Another thing is that I wish the fight scenes between Godzilla and Kong were a little bit longer. I felt like both times that they fought, it was just kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. I think because they kept moving the cameras back and forth to the people in Kong versus Godzilla, I'm just like, just let them fight. I want to see them fight. Like, that's basically what the movie is about. Let them fight. I want to see them fight. I want to see Kong throw more punches. I want to see Godzilla use his fire breath, or whatever you want to call it. So maybe that's just me being picky, but I felt like the fight scenes were too short. Every time that they did fight, the 2 times that they did fight in the whole 2-hour span of movie, it was like only 5 minutes long. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating, but I felt they were very short. So I wish that they were longer, or maybe there were more fight scenes with both of them. And another thing that I had about the movie was the characters and the overall use of the characters. I just felt like the characters didn't really add any depth to the movie. Like Millie Bobby Brown, I love her, and I get that she was in the other Godzilla movie, but I just felt like with the characters in this movie, they didn't really bring anything to the storyline. It could have been a screenwriter thing or a director thing, but I felt like the actors and the characters didn't really play a huge important part. Like they did just for like the sake of the movie, but they're very forgettable. And I wish that they kind of maybe got rid of a few characters and just kind of built off of that and then focused more of the story on Kong versus Godzilla instead of this harnessing the energy. And again, I get why, because they are trying to set up the storyline for Mechagodzilla, but I felt like some of the characters didn't really bring any depth into the story and were just kind of useless. So overall, the movie was okay. I mean, I enjoyed it. I probably would have paid to watch it in theaters just because it's Kong versus Godzilla. But is it a movie that I'll watch again? Maybe like one more time just to like watch the action. But it's not really a memorable movie for me. The only reason why it's maybe memorable because it's Godzilla versus Kong. That's pretty much it. And who wouldn't want to watch two awesome big titans fight against each other? But then, yeah, so I wouldn't watch it more than maybe a couple times. Again, I thought it was an okay movie. If you want to watch it, then definitely go ahead if you haven't. And if you're watching this because you don't care about spoilers. But my overall rating for Godzilla vs. Kong would be a 6.8 out of 10. That is my rating for the movie. Fight scenes and action were okay, especially when it came to Godzilla vs. Kong. They weren't bad, but overall storyline and characters, those were okay. So that would be my overall rating for Godzilla vs. Kong. Again, thank you for watching my video today and me just rambling on about movies and just talking about movies, and I definitely appreciate you guys watching my video. So definitely, if you haven't yet, subscribe to my channel so that you guys can be updated on upcoming videos in the future. I definitely will be talking about a lot more movies that are coming up. I know there's a few more movies that are coming up soon, and I'm excited to watch them, aka Mortal Kombat, which comes out this month. So definitely, again, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, definitely do so if you want to. And if you want to leave your thoughts below about the movie and what you thought, then definitely leave your comments below. Again, thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Bye!